go to First Avenue.
And it's a subtle effect. I would love to get something physical in there.
There's a question of whether they can hold music or have music stands. I mean, 45 music stands is a lot of music stands.
No, you can't do that. I'm sure. No, we can never do that.
That's the thing, but if they're chorus people and they hold their music.
It may be that they can take, you can go.
Oh, on the music itself.
On the music, so I mean, I think there's ways to.
Now that's cool.
Yeah. In fact, the way it started off was him just making sound effects piece with no music at all. And then sort of handing it to me and saying, well, Rob, what's next? And me sitting.
You know what we did first? We rode a bus.
Yeah, we rode the bus together. That's right. With a handheld microphone.
And I just recorded it, and we got some amazing conversations.
That's right. That was great. It was great. And all sorts of sound. Just, I mean, you don't really normally get to ride.
This is Jays, the guy from Bulgaria talking about Jays. Oh, Jays, it's all Jays. We hear one time only. One time only.
Right.
And so all that stuff's going on the bus.
All right.
Then we started. I did a sort of sound effects piece using a program called Acid, which thinks of little loops, and you can paint them across a screen almost in real time. You record a loop, which is easy, and then you just sort of paint it, and you can paint it into the beats of music. I did a rough draft of that.
And it's a whole different way of composing. I'd never seen a program like this, although a lot of kids are actually using this. But I mean, it's really, it's like taking blotches of sound and moving them around visually and creating an aural collage. And so it started off with him just handing that to me, and the piece was so much fun that he handed me, I wanted to just say, great, congratulations, the easiest commission I ever do, I'll sign my name to it, and it's done. But then thinking, well, what could music do? Because it was, in a way, its own universe, a complete piece. And so then I started to think of, well, it's an assignment like I've never had, like, what would be the music that would go with this complete universe of sounds that would somehow add something to it, but be its own unity by itself? And so then I went off and wrote a whole series of music tracks that would go with that, taking little units of sound effects, sounds, and all that stuff, and what would go underneath this, that would also make a continuous journey. And then I did that back to him, and then he would fiddle with his sound. Each version shocks the other person because you create something complete in your own world and don't imagine the other thing being added to it. Then you have to go, whoa, what could I write added to this? Then you give him this, and then he says, whoa, what does that do to what I started with? And so it was a constant back and forth. And another thing, constantly going between two different worlds and ways of making music. For Fred, the oral document, or even before that, improv is where Fred really comes from, where you just walk into a room with a lot of people and you go, make this honk, do this, and it's right there. Whereas I come from the world where you write it down and somebody else whom you're never going to meet is going to have to do it. So it was completely different, methods of working, but, the hardness of that was what was fun.
When I had done a demo, the piece is complete. It's a sound demo. That's it. It's done.
Right.
That's where it just started for him.
Right.
In that way, and he thinks of it totally. I was going like, well, no, the problems are solved because the sound's there. But he's thinking notes on a page.
Yeah, right.
And you've got to, that's the tradition of music. It goes there so other people can reproduce. And people simultaneously, people have to sing that same note together.
Right.
With the same